Welcome to HypeSage. In this HypeSage, we're doing a hype news. A hype news on Clairo. Clairo, the self-made bedroom pop artist, seems like she's been lying to her audience, making this facade as if she's this self-made indie artist, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. And while I get in depth in this video, I don't want anyone to think that I'm discrediting her art. I love a lot of her older stuff, such as Bubblegum, came out about a year ago, and I also respect Clairo because she's done a cover on probably my favorite indie artist of all time, which is Alex G. She did a cover called Bright Boy. If you haven't checked that out, it's pretty good. But in this video, as I said, I'm not gonna discredit her art. I'm just gonna question her authenticity. And while this mysterious jump of views, followers, hype, and everyone loving her out of nowhere in a couple of months, this is something I have never seen before. And now starting to do my own due diligence on Clairo, and also shout out to some followers who have gave me some information as well, and some connections that I have in the music community when it comes to the music industry have been telling me some stuff as well about Clairo. And the reason why I couldn't believe that Clairo might be an industry plant or just have connections to the music industry is just the way she presents herself. She presents herself as this organic, self-made artist, especially when you look at her music videos on YouTube that are just made out of a webcam. How much more self-made can you be? So actually following Clairo for about a year now and seeing her success through Pretty Girl is just amazing. But actually getting to know more of her situation, it kind of makes sense on how her future can play out and how Pretty Girl is just like kind of the seed of what will flourish in Clairo's future. And the way Clairo sets her image, in my opinion, seems as if Clairo is taking on the world, such as the world being the music industry. And that's totally cool if you're a part of this indie community such as myself. You know, I'm really into Tyler the Creator, and actually seeing Tyler the Creator grow was something like no other. Same as Bane's World, actually getting to see Bane's World play at these really low-key shows in the beginning of 2017, and in my opinion now being one of the more expected indie artists to blow up is truly amazing. Same as with Mac DeMarco, from Rock and Roll Nightclub to stuff when he was playing with Alex Calder, such as Makeout Videotape, to now probably being the prince of indie rock. Those are the footsteps that I saw Clairo taking, you know, having the odds against you because you don't have the money or you don't have the music industry ties, connections around you. So let's get on to Clairo's background, and when I mean background, let's talk about her father. As I've said in this video, this is no way to discredit her artwork. I truly enjoy her style. I enjoy what she's trying to do when it comes to the aesthetics. But I want to give the audience or any Clairo fans more transparency in what this might be. Now, Clairo's father, Jeff Cottrell, is one of the biggest marketing executives that I've seen when it comes to just his information alone. He's worked with companies such as Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, and has also worked for Converse for about 8 years being their chief marketing officer. So the man is pretty good at what he does. And as I'm going in depth on Clairo's father, many people will probably say, how is this even relevant on what Clairo is doing? Well, I mean, when you're working with huge companies doing marketing such as Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, or working for 8 years being the chief marketing officer for Converse, which Converse isn't just a shoe brand, it's also, in my opinion, a lifestyle brand. They focus a lot on arts, music. Converse even has a record studio artist performance thing called Rubber Tracks, and I'm pretty sure he was a part of that as well. So when Clairo never mentions that she doesn't have any strings to the music industry, Well, I mean, her father pretty much is that string. And besides Jeff Cottrell working with Converse, Cottrell's actually allies with Cornerstone Promotions. And if you don't know Cornerstone, it's a creative marketing agency that picks bands and runs the studio. It's ran by John Cohen and Rob Stone, who founded Cornerstone. And if you don't know those names are actually the founders of Fader magazine. So yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense now, or it gives us an idea on how Clairo had a chance to even get a Fader video, and it's truly amazing on how this all kind of ties in together.
So it was like the first like original like pop song I made. Like everything else I had made prior to that wasn't really intending to be a pop song. It's pretty overwhelming, but it's a good overwhelming.
And if you read any of the press releases, articles, or the write-ups, you never hear about her father. And it's kind of strange because think of it this way. Imagine if my parents were like the top executors of YouTube and they can actually get me into some prestigious YouTube channels or even some advertisement or even get into the algorithm that can help me out become a bigger YouTuber star. I would really appreciate that. And if people ask, how did you even get big? I would just say that, hey, my parents are executives of this and I really owe them a lot. You know, I mean, it's all about being transparent with your fan base. And when you're kind of making it seem like it's all just me, I don't really think so. And as I said, I just truly don't understand why she doesn't mention the connections in any of her interviews. It's really weird. Also, someone I know who's part of the music industry has told me that Clairo is possibly managed by Hype Brand. And if you don't know Hype Brand, the founder of Hype Brand is Pat Corcoran. And if you don't know Pat is the manager of Chance the Rapper. And the theory I have about Clairo is that I feel like Clairo has been branded already by herself or even maybe a possible manager. And while many people will ask the question, how is she branded? Well, branded as in self-made indie artist gives everyone this idea and this inspirational come up that is truly unheard of.
Now, unlike many viral videos, Clairo's pretty girl visuals are strikingly raw and charmingly honest. She admits that it all came naturally for her and wasn't part of some big master plan. I don't really know what I'm doing. Sometimes I wish I'd spent more time thinking about it, but I'm happy knowing that my audience has a realistic view of how I really am.
And it kind of makes sense now to be placed on bills such as the huge event from Tyler the Creator that had Bane's World, Michael Sayer, Innerwave, which those artists have truly worked their asses off to get to the point that they're at right now when it comes to following, the fan base, and just their artistry alone. And while reflecting when I saw Clairo live, it kind of makes sense now on why maybe Clairo was nervous, or why Clairo seemed very awkward on stage, or why probably no one in the audience were singing along to her very famous song. Also, being at that show, I kind of feel like maybe she was rushed or maybe she was placed to be there from a manager. I don't know. Now questions are popping up on my head. And while I do feel like Pretty Girl might have been a genuine blow up, the follow-up to the blow-up just doesn't feel right. It feels very sketchy. And for an example for an indie artist, someone such as Vacations. Vacations released an album last year, which has already accumulated over 1 million views, but I haven't seen any write-ups at all, really, of Vacations, and it's kind of weird that that's just how the music industry is. If you don't know anyone, if you don't have the money for it, or if you're just not popping enough, but you're kind of popping, bro, you're not going to be about it. And I mean, you can just see it in stuff such as Pigeons and Plane or the Fader. You know, those companies are all about profit, and I understand, and they want to profit off of the artists that will have the most views. And while I did mention Clairo's dad on this Hype News, I don't want anyone to think that I am lashing towards her dad. I mean, if I was the father with that amount of power and with that amount of money, probably, I would do anything for my child if they were as talented as Clairo. It's just the natural thing to do. You help out your kid because you want to see them succeed. But when you're not being transparent with your fans and you're making it seem as I was saying, a facade of being self-made, I don't find that to be cool at all. And if I was a hardcore fan of Clairo, which there are plenty of, I would probably be deceived right now. I would probably feel like I've been lied to. So it was very weird to see Clairo just shoot up, go to Fader, go to Pigeons and Plane, or go to any other famous music blog post, while people such as I was saying, Bane's World, it kind of takes them almost a year to finally get onto a music blog post such as Pigeons and Planes, which is ran by Complex magazines. And while her music can be very minimal, catchy, and relatable, I just hope that Clairo can be more than just a couple of music industry connections and actually prove a point that she's better than this. And that's something that I would hope to see in 2018, this year. Hopefully we get an album from Clairo. So hopefully you guys see this as more of something to reflect on and to maybe just create conversation. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this hype news. This was HypeSage doing a hype news on Clairo. So what do you guys think about this video? Do you believe that she's an industry plant, or do you actually believe that she deserves this fame and has created this naturally? When I actually did some research on her dad's history, it kind of just planted the seed in my head of all of these questions now. So, you know, I'd love to hear Clairo actually talk about this, because it would create more of an authenticity on her side. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. This was HypeSage doing a hype news on Clairo. See you guys soon. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. More videos to come. Hopefully we'll have an interview with a special guest very soon. He's one of the most rising artists in the indie community. See you soon.